Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hibernian Hall's Community Spotlight. And as you all know, I am Olawumi Akinwumi. I am Hibernian Hall's director and your host. This is our ninth interview of our series, and I have a special guest for you guys. There's a group of them actually. They're coming from the Roxbury Preparatory High School, and they are one of our greatest partners. They've done a bunch of plays in our space in the past couple of years. And so now I just want to do a proper introduction before we start our conversation this afternoon. So we have Spyro Janotakis. Excuse me butchering the name. So yes, he's a performing arts educator entering his fifth year at Roxbury Preparatory High School. Originally from Alabama, Spyro earned his Bachelor of Arts in Musical Theater from Birmingham Southern College and his Master's of Education from Boston University. Spyro is incredibly grateful to his team at RPHS and is excited to continue building the Fine Arts Department together. So yes, and the next person we have is Tori.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
Good,
so
good.
I have you on, and I'm going to just come along as you guys there and do a little intro. So yes, Tori, you are a theater arts educator from
Leominster. Good old Leominster.
I know, like when you look at it, it's like lemon.
I know, it's crazy.
Studying at New York University Film Academy. Okay, got some art, some film background. Received your Bachelor of Arts in Theater from Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. Oh, wow, you're over here from the West Coast. Then upon graduating from college, you began working as a performing arts teacher at Roxbury Prep. And now you're just building theater in the program and continuing navigating the new world.
Yes.
And now we have Ashante.
Hey.
Oh, yes. You, my dear, you are a music teacher, a vocal coach from Boston. Whoop, whoop. Study at Berklee College of Music and obtain your Bachelor of Music and Professional Music. Ashante spent her earlier years writing and performing for professional singers, and now she decides to dedicate her time raising her lovely son and helping other kids find their voice. And you hope to continue to build music program at Roxbury Prep and believes that all children should have opportunity to explore arts. And I totally agree with that. So yes, welcome. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Yes. So, we're just going to dive right in there. Yeah. So I know I did a little brief intro. Apologize for butchering the name, but yes, we can just start. Whoever wants to start, you can just go ahead and elaborate a little bit more who you are and, why we're talking today.
Cool.
Okay, you go ahead, Spiro.
Sorry. I'm Spiro Gerontakis. I'm a theater teacher at Roxbury Prep, and I'm super excited to be able to partner with Hibernian Hall because we have a history and because it's such a pillar in the community that our school lives in. And also just having the space in a community. I'm from Alabama, so where I lived, there wasn't a lot of central arts in where I grew up. So this is really cool that this is available for community members and just such an awesome thing.
Thank you.
I'm Tori. I'm going into my fourth year at Roxbury Prep. Before that, I studied theater in college. I became really involved in the arts. I started dancing when I was really young, but in high school, the arts got me through high school. They saved me. I was not a strong academic student, so having that outlet of going to theater class every day and being involved in their program truly changed my life. And then when I was in college, I got the opportunity to work in some after-school programs doing theater. And so when I got the chance to actually teach at the high school, I was really excited, and I see myself teaching for a really long time.
And I am Ashante. I am actually going into my third year teaching at Roxbury Prep. I am an alumni of Roxbury Prep Middle School, so I'm one of the babies that got out. I've been involved with music and theater since I was very, very young, 6-7 years old, and I kind of explored music once I got into college. And from there, I fell in love with it, realized that there's more I can do rather than just perform. So I chose to fill in the educator role, and I'm here, still getting at it.
Yes, you sure are. Well, thank you all. Yes, let's just, let's be comfortable, jump in a nice conversation. I see a few eyes watching, a nice like. Thank you. So this is what we do. So yeah, starting with that, I think it was like you said 2-3 years ago when we did Hairspray.
Hairspray, yeah.
And that was also a great delight to watch. I love watching young people coming out of their shells and finding a piece of voice that they couldn't find. And that's what you guys do, bring it out of them. So yeah, with that said, we were supposed to have something for the performance series in March. And you guys were supposed to do something in, I believe it was June.
April, May, yeah.
And we're supposed to be Beauty and the Beast. And then we had a lovely highlight. I think we catch you guys on some video.
Yes.
They did like a nice like excerpt of like Beauty and the Beast, and it was good to just basically see them shine. We was really looking forward to have them come on, but it's all right. But how are you guys feeling after that? Since now, what have you guys been doing?
Oh man, well, I feel like the past few months have been just looking forward to this next school year and trying to figure out like what the arts are even going to look like. And because, things are changing so quickly, like trying to figure out, what's going to be going on with school, or should we be planning for distance learning? Should we be planning for completely online? So right now we're working together to plan for everything, any possible scenario. So the past month, that's where my month has been at. How can we continue to engage the students in the arts, even if it's completely virtual?
Awesome.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, we had some practice this spring once we went full quarantined and virtually teaching with creating some kind of showcase for Beauty and the Beast. So if we do have to do some kind of virtual thing for a show, I think, we've gotten our feet wet, figured out most of our things that we're not sure about. So yeah, it was really cool though to look at theater from a virtual lens, and then now continuing to talk with the team about how we can bring more of that this school year.
Awesome. Got anything for us over there?
Well, they said basically everything that I was thinking. I just wanted to add on the experience that I had as the music director doing everything from a technical standpoint, because instead of having the kids come in and record an actual session where, they couldn't be 6 feet apart, we had to figure out how else we were going to get their vocals. And just the whole process of receiving their vocals from iPhones to emails and having to reproduce that onto the music program was an eye opener for me. But I'm really glad that I got to experience, because now I can even teach the kids how to use these music programs virtually.
Yeah, it was a crazy process of trial and error. But I feel really proud that they were able to get something together and, not just give up on their work, but to figure out how to continue and have something to show for all of their hard work. Because we were rehearsing all through January through when we did Art on the Rocks. I was just so happy that they got to do that, because that was the time that they actually got to get up in front of people. And, they were nervous and had all of the things, but I think they left feeling so excited and so proud of themselves. And, from talking to people in the community that were there, I think it was really well received, the work that they put out there. So I'm really grateful that you had that opportunity for them, especially because they didn't get to perform anything else live.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true. I know. I just realized that was the end before the end had started.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm so glad we got to see that and experience that as well. So, you guys basically show how much work you put into the young people, and they just show their heart out on that stage. So I'm glad we was able to produce that and show that. I'm just sad that we couldn't put it on physically with the year, but don't worry. At least we have something to build up for next year, like you said.
That's right.
Right.
So now, what would you say, how would you, each of you all identify your art? So I know music, theater, but as an individual, what would you say be your art medium that you identify with?
For me, it's definitely always going to be musician first. I I started writing poetry first, and then I got into emceeing, and then I got into singing. So it's always going to be music for me, whether or not I was writing poetry. It was always written for music. And then prior to me going to Berkeley, I actually used to play the violin in
Oh,
13 years. So that's been inbred into me, the classical side of music. So it's always going to be musician for me.
that's awesome. Maybe that's why you look familiar.
I performed a few times at Hibernian Hall growing up.
Okay.
In my teen years.
Yeah.
I had more hair though.
I would say for me, I identify as a theater educator and a director. I grew up always acting was the thing, always wanting to be on stage, always wanting to act. And then when I dipped my toe in the water with directing and actually working behind the scenes, I absolutely loved it. So since that moment, I have been directing and educating.
Awesome. I like that. Dip my toe in the water. I'm gonna use that. Yes.
I think for myself, I think about like the thing that I'm most confident with, because anxiety is a real thing. I think singing is like the thing that I feel the most confident in, followed by acting. But music, gets you through a lot.
Yes, it does. I agree with that. Yes, it do. Gets you everywhere. Just like, see, I'm moving now. I'm home. I mean, I feel like being at home now, I'll be doing a lot more work. I mean, how are you guys feeling?
Yes.
You got to be in the space physically to be like, okay, this is what we're doing, but to do everything online and figure out sound cues, like it's
just a lot of prepping. For me, luckily, I've had a little experience with prepping because I have a 4-year-old or 5-year-old now as of today.
Yeah.
Kind of used to putting everything in different compartments, but when you have to do it on your own at home without someone telling you to do it, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, I like to have physical papers to be able to jot down notes and highlight and underline and staple things. Like it gives me peace. It makes me feel less anxious about things, makes me feel organized. And to now just have everything living on my computer in all different spaces drives me nuts. I actually just bought a planner and was writing out like every detail of everything on the days, because even these digital calendars, yes. I'm hoping that it saves me, because I've been struggling with having everything like Google Docs, Forms, Outlook, Gmail. It's crazy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to like keep know where everything is. But I found myself finding like ways to like get moving or be like creative at home other than like on my screen. So like I've started cross stitching. I've started making quilts, kind of, when I get bored. Yeah, it's been fun.
I think it's interesting thinking about like staying in your routines once school starts as well, because I've kind of created a summer routine for myself to stay sane during this quarantine, like exercise and yoga and reading and journaling. And now once school starts, like trying to find time to keep all that stuff, at least to a degree, in my schedule for sanity will be interesting.
Self-health is wealth.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was also part of the next question. It's like yes, we can find like what inspires you, but like the inspiration has to come from some kind of internal self-help. So how do you guys maintain your sanity through all of this?
I've been doing a lot of meditating. I like to call it meditating. I can probably get maybe 5 minutes in until my brain starts to freak out. So I start meditation, maybe a little bit of yoga. I've also been indulging in binge watching some TV shows. So that's been really helpful. But again, the issue that I'm having now is we're getting back to work. Now we need to like put all the Netflix and chill away and get back on the ball.
Yeah.
Get back to reality.
Right.
I've been trying to read a lot, like read just for fun, because I feel like during the school year I'm reading, things that kind of have to do with what I'm doing at school most of the time, or scripts. And I've been trying to just like pick up different novels that I think are interesting or recommended, and like make sure that I read a little bit every day. And I've gotten through a bunch of books, so I'm really hoping I can continue with that. That feels like meditation to me, because it quiets my mind of everything else. I can focus on just that story, and that's been really really helpful to me.
That's great. Any books to recommend?
I love this author, Kristen Hanna, and I just read this book, The Great Alone, that someone actually sent me through like an anonymous book club that I'm doing. So I got this book in the mail. You're supposed to send your favorite book to someone else that's on the list. And I absolutely loved it. So if you're looking for like a drama or kind of thriller, The Great Alone, Kristen Hanna. It's about a family that journeys into Alaska and like faces, the wilderness. So it's really good.
That's interesting because I've been watching a lot of like, is it Molly Denali? You ever seen the child show Molly Denali?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're based in Alaska, but it's like they're the indigenous side, like because a lot of like Native Americans are from. So it's so interesting. So when you said that, it just reminded me like of like Denali.
It has some of that, the colliding of the two kind of different worlds of people that go there, like expecting it to be one thing, and then the indigenous people that are living in that land. So yeah, it's a good read.
Well, thank you. So hope you guys hear that. Some nice reads for your reading list for you end the summer.
Yes.
So we have someone who posed a question, Miss Nina La Negra, which is a very lovely lady, community organizer. So I'm going to pop one here. She says, how are you helping the children navigate the digital and tangible space with learning? She finds some very interesting topics. So yeah, let's like dive into that because that helps with like what are the challenges. So we might as well just, start with that question.
I think the first hurdle that needs to be overcome is family communication before anything. If there's not a strong sense of rapport within the family, the student is not really ever set up for success. So before we expect these kids to wake up on their own and come to virtual class on time with all their materials, we need to make sure that parents are aware of what is expected of their students and what is expected of them and what we expect, what they expect of us. But if we aren't ever on the same page, the virtual learning can get difficult. We haven't been back in school since March. It's been like half of a year. So in that aspect, I can speak for myself. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but definitely as the school year comes into online learning, definitely family communication is like number one top thing to make sure is in order.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Tori.
I was just going to add on to that and say I think it's also really important, like thinking about the different needs of every family, the different situations, like what are their parents doing during the day? Are they home alone? Do they have internet access? All of those things, really getting to know each family so you can help support like the individual challenges that can come up, which is a huge task. And, I wouldn't say that we're perfect, but we're all working really hard to make that family contact and, be on the same page about what everyone needs.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
You can say it again.
Great minds think alike.
True. I definitely would have to say I commend you guys, all the educators, because it's hard. I mean, the fact that you have to transition and now come up and create a whole new way of teaching and to be able to learn and then get these parents to be more accountable in the children's education is huge. And I think we were talking before we came online about the mixed hybrid. Can we talk about that a little bit? And maybe I can get more of an understanding of what exactly that is or what parents are actually looking at trying out since we're, experiencing COVID.
Well, as far as like the hybrid learning, I think we're still getting more direction on where this is going. Every day, every second, it changes. We'll get news that this is happening, and then the next day it's like, oh, scratch that, that's not happening.
Right.
Really depends on Governor Baker at this point, and what's going on with that. But we do have plans to have a hybrid schedule just in case we get thrown back in the fire. But again, I think it's literally just going to have to be all by ear and, just feeling through the process because I don't think anybody really knows.
Yeah.
I would say Roxbury Prep has been working really hard to create really clear plans for each scenario. So if we do end up going back, I do think that our school has done a fantastic job. Even with when we jumped into online learning in March, I mean, we were way ahead of many schools in like having a specific plan, and students were online and learning after. I mean, we took like Friday to plan, the administration took the weekend, and by that following week, we had a clear schedule and plan for students to be learning. So that makes me hopeful going back that it will continue with some real strength.
Yeah. It's always, it's going to be interesting. Since I'm in Alabama right now, I've been focused on a lot of like, my mom was a teacher and her friends are teachers. So like, been hearing a lot of stories from them about like what's happening here. So I've been a little bit out of touch in terms of Massachusetts, but hopeful for this like hybrid type deal, that it's going to be like not only like helpful for students in terms of like being in front of like other people, not just themselves, but for like their virtual learning, that it continues and that it's like fruitful for their futures.
Right. The idea is to have students in the building for at least once a week, to have that touch point with teachers and actual learning in the building. And so I think kind of from that concept, they're building the schedule around that for when the time comes.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I've just been contemplating like, what would that look like with all the kids, especially with, the middle school kids and the high school kids, and having them understand how crucial it is to social distance. And I know it's hard for them because it's like, I'm coming back to school, I can't even see my friends, I can't even hug my friends. It's like, it's a lot. And I'm sure maybe there are some like counselors or psychologists on deck that will help talk to some young people if they're not okay with the situation. I don't know. Is that something that's also a plan that some schools are doing? I just kind of thought of that out of my head, but
yeah, I think there's an option for parents to opt into remote learning. But of course, there are some parents that can't afford to stay home and teach their kids online. So those kids would, I guess in a sense, have to be forced to do a hybrid schedule. But for the most part, I do know that they are giving parents a lot of leeway to keep their kids home if they're uncertain during this.
Okay. Hybrid. But I hope this is also opportunities for parents to take more accountability of their children's learning. The fact that, I'm like in a mom's group. So some of them are talking about hiring a teacher where they'll do like homeschooling. So it's like a pod type of situation where they feel comfortable and they work every day. And I mean, that's interesting, but that's also money coming out of pocket. So like you said, if parents can't afford it, how will you be able to, afford the teacher that's going to have time to give curriculum and, give them that hands one-on-one learning. So that's definitely an ongoing conversation. And then I'm hearing about other schools outside of Massachusetts that are already hitting that COVID rate. Like Georgia and what other schools they talk about? Florida, those high risk spots, hot spots.
Yeah.
Georgia.
My high school is going back full in person. Like,
wow.
The precautions that like Boston's taking in terms of like personal protective equipment, it's like, hit or miss. But yeah, that's crazy.
It's scary.
Yeah, that is really crazy.
I mean, I just found somebody to sell me some N95s and a lot of face shields, like ready if we have to go back in person full time.
It's crazy how different states can have such different like interpretations of what school is going to look like.
That's interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. It's just like, I mean, I feel like, I don't know for you, but Massachusetts have been doing a great job with the phases and just rolling things out. And I just wish some other states would kind of adopt to that model. I mean, not everybody's perfect, but we got to be able to see the eye to eye so we can just, kill this noise of this virus that's going out. And I want this to be outside of our vocabulary, because not every time we want to see and be like, yes, COVID this, COVID that. Now we need to think towards the future and maybe adopt some of the best practices that we've been doing online when we get back in person. So I'll leave it on that note.
And that's
So-
that on that.
Yes. Yeah, that also talks a lot about what the challenges you guys are going through and being able to plan and prepare for these young people, what they're going to do. But what would you say would be your greatest accomplishment through all of this?
I'm gonna just go ahead and be the cornball and say I'm just really proud that we pulled that virtual musical off, because I'm not gonna lie, the turnaround time that we had to produce that and just communicating from different towns. Like I live in Brockton, so a lot of the, Sparrow and Tori are in Boston, so everything we were planning was like FaceTime, email, texting, like this time to meet. Does this work? Did you talk to them? So I'm just glad that we had a successful production of that, because honestly, based on the circumstances, it seemed like a very impossible hurdle to get over. But
Yes. I would love to see this video.
I'll share it with you. I'll write it down so you don't forget.
Thank you.
I would say that my biggest accomplishment, hopefully at the end of this, is giving students a place to be able to have an outlet, because I mean, life is just really hard right now, and school, I can imagine, is going to be really, really difficult, having to be online. So like giving them that space to be creative and kind of take the pressure off, but still kind of engaged in the arts and what they can do for you will be amazing. I'm really glad that our school is keeping the arts program in their virtual model, because I know a lot of schools are not.
yeah, they cut it.
A lot of arts programs, physical education programs have been cut, and we have the opportunity to continue going, which I think is really great.
Awesome. And are there conversations? There has to be some conversations that people are stirring up just to keep everybody abreast of like what's going on. I know in the theater world, with other companies, I'm involved in meetings about what they're thinking about opening up. And there was some talk, I think it was Huntington Theater, not to put anybody out there, that they're looking to open up their fall production. And I don't know what that looks like, because even for me, I'm not doing my theater production until next fall.
Right.
We're hoping for what you guys are doing too in the spring. So we're still trying to play things out.
Right.
Interesting. Well, I know Broadway is not going back until 2021. So, yeah.
I mean, that change. That's what I heard. That's what I've been seeing online. But
that it might change.
That I feel like that decision they're going to make, it might have to change. I mean, it's more with the public. I mean, yes, we want to be able to produce live productions, but we got to figure out how that's going to work. And is it feasible,
I mean, I think the bigger picture here is, if you look at everywhere else that's getting better with the cases and adapting to this new COVID life, America is the only place that's really having a hard time with it, because we have this thing called freedom. we don't really know how to pull away from it. Ego can come above motive. So there's that, but that's like a whole nother subject. You can't change the whole entire, continent. So people just have to come to that realization. Do you want to get out of this, or do you want to continue to be in isolation? Some people are here for it. I'm an introvert sometimes, but I need to get out.
Exactly. You go crazy these four or five walls that you're looking at.
Right. But I think it's just about perspective at this point. If people either really think about it and they want to make the change, or they just stick to their gung-hos,
Yeah.
Cool. So what are you guys working on now?
I think we've been texting, emailing a lot about our production that we're hoping for in the spring. And we've also been talking a little bit about our other events that happen throughout the year. So we typically do a coffee house in the fall, which is just this pretty informal space for students 9 through 12 to present any piece of work that they'd like to, be it spoken word, a song, a dance, what have you. And we're trying to figure out ways that we can make that still available for students, while still keeping like safe like distances and like following school guidelines and things like that. But that's a lot of what I've been thinking about, in addition to like curriculum and ways to get students into some kind of performance while we're virtual.
Yeah. My eyes have been really laser focused on trying to build the curriculum because it's going to be coming up, ready or not, and we really want to make it great and be like this awesome space for students. So I've just been thinking a lot about how to do that. Joining a lot of like community boards, Facebook groups, Drama Teacher Academy has been awesome, but like hearing what other educators are doing and being able to talk with them and kind of build our curriculum on that. That's what I've been really focused on.
Yeah. And for me, I've just been trying to balance not only my virtual teaching schedule, but also my son's, because he's approaching K2, which is right before the big stuff. I'm trying to balance both of that and still keep my sanity on lockdown. It's all good so far, though. So.
Well, I commend you all. Like, it is a lot, and at least you're preparing now before we hit the whatever is coming towards us. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's always a good way to just be 10 steps ahead.
Right.
Let's see. We have a cognitive problem in the White House.
Okay, she's going there. She is going there.
Going in.
I
gotta love Anina.
Oh my goodness, we love you.
So, yeah, so now that we're paying attention, we're just waiting to hear hopefully what's going on within the year, what you guys got cooking up. But yeah, what would be your professional superpower? I wanted to just kind of like make something fun, get like a little fun question out of here. Yes.
We kind of talked about this last night. I think I'm going to be corny. I'm going to say my professional superpower is that I teach.
Hey, yeah, you're an educator. You share wealth to the world.
That's it.
So I said my professional superpower, and then they reminded me it has to be about Roxbury Prep, but I still think it kind of applies. So I'm going to say it. My professional superpower is having the ability to sense a lie. And I think that can work. And personal life, professional life, because if a student comes to school and they say they don't have their homework and the dog ate it, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. So I'm going to stick with that.
The Pinocchio stand.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say mine is flexibility in the hopes that becomes true over the next few months, because we have to be able to adapt to any and everything at a moment's notice.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, this is definitely an eye-awakening experience for all of us, even for me as a new director, and then just basically thinking on your feet quickly. It's like, oh, we wasn't expecting this to happen, but now it's like, okay, what's the next step? Instead of just figuring out like, what should we do? So this is definitely a great exercise for me, and hopefully for you too as well. Now, what would be a advice that you can offer or give to anybody that's in your shoes or in education?
I think it's Tori's superpower to be flexible with everything that is happening. Yeah, but also like keeping an open mind to like new ventures. Like if a student says like, well, why don't we do a virtual musical? Like be open to it. Try it out.
Cool.
I would say try to just find all of the positives that you can, for every like challenge or roadblock, even if it's just one small thing, one student you got through to, like try to find every little positive to build yourself up, because times are hard and we got to be kind to ourselves and like be loving towards ourselves.
Right. And also ask for assistance too. I found like in the beginning of this virtual learning, a lot of the parents, they didn't know who to reach out to. So after one attempt of reaching out and not getting any clarity, they kind of just, gave up. So I just, hold on one.
It's fine. Trust me. There's times I've been on here with my son being like.
Yeah, it's his birthday today. So he's a little,
I know we should sing happy birthday live.
Oh, let me take the speakers out. 1 second.
Yes. Ooh, this is really the interview.
I need you to close your room. We're gonna sing happy birthday for you in a little bit, okay? Okay. I'll be back in 1 second, okay? I think his Disney show turned off.
Oh,
Yep.
uh-oh.
That's not the one reason why they would bother us. But yeah, sorry. I don't know if there was any last words that you had that you were saying.
No, so I was just saying just make sure like you're asking for assistance from all ends, not just reaching out to one person, because there are other teachers out here that really want to support your children. But depending on what age they are, we teach high schoolers and they're a bit reserved. They're not going to be the first the first person to say, I need this, I'm feeling this way. So definitely reaching out and asking for assistance so we can set everybody up for success.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is great. I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking with me. This is like so fun. Anything else would you guys like to share with us before we sing happy birthday? And somebody else will settle as well.
All right, let me go grab them.
I just really appreciate you and for having us on, and just this partnership that we get to have with Hibernian is really amazing. I think that can be said through the joy that the students had of coming to that amazing event that you had. Being able to network. I mean, that event was truly awesome. It was beautiful. And it was really cool to be able to chat with people in the community. I know we were chatting with some people from the Theater Offensive that were there, which was really awesome. And they, kind of were introducing themselves to students, and just being able to have that opportunity for our students to network was really awesome. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that actually, now you're just giving me ideas. Like, because we're actually looking at creating our next virtual event for Hibernian Hall, the Arts and the Rocks. And I would love to have you guys come back on again. And then we'll probably talk about, more off scene of like what that would look like, a virtual recording. So we can at least keep the momentum going and have you guys come on and just show the world what you guys got, especially because the fact that you guys are from Roxbury. So
yes.
All right. So I'm going to cut out with that. And now as we end our special show today, so thank you all for watching our Spotlight Community Spotlight for Hibernian Hall. And we have a special guest. What's his name? Caden.
Caden.
Caden. Hi,
Caden.
Hi, Caden.
So handsome. Look at you.
How did you know my name?
Psychic. I'm psychic.
Magic.
So now I don't have the best voice, but we're going to sing you a happy birthday. Yes. As someone shout out the berry. Yes. Thank you.
Go ahead, Spiro, lead us in.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but I'm eating my lips.
All right, ready? 5, 6, 7, 8.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Caden. Happy birthday to you.
Now you can see why it was so hard producing a virtual musical.
Yeah, I was like,
Different places.
Thank you, Civility. She's like, this is beautiful. Yes, this is what we do. So thank you all for tuning in to our weekly summer series of Community Spotlight Hibernian Hall. We want to thank our guests that come on today. Thank you so much. And
thank you for having us.
Until next week. And we love you all. Y'all keep striving and make sure you make these kids happy. And we will tune in again with our next upcoming projects. All right.
Thank you, Viola.
Thank you.
Bye.